Hi,
Hi.
Day.
Hi.
So this is episode number 5
Uh-huh.
for
Grim geography.
Grim Geography.
Are we gonna acknowledge the elephant in the room?
What? Which elephant in the room?
About if you're watching the video.
Oh yes, your hair.
I have very yellow hair. It's the front part of my hair is yellow right
Yeah,
now.
she's going to a wedding in West Virginia, which is who we're talking about today. And she decided to leave her beautiful hair and decided to dye it the way she wants it, which is fine.
I have mixed feelings about my natural hair.
Yes, it looked beautiful, but she decided she wanted to change.
So it is going lighter and then it's going to a different color. And then it'll probably be a different color after that.
Yeah. Let's just hope her girlfriend is not pissed at her because she's in the wedding.
She knows.
So,
She knows what I'm doing.
yes, we're hoping she does.
She knows there's bleach involved. She thinks I'm bleaching my hair all over
Oh, God.
and dyeing it that way.
Okay.
So this is actually going to be this is not going to be like that.
Yes.
So it's half and half.
She wouldn't let me turn the light on because it looked yellow and her white teeth looked yellow. She spent a fortune getting aligners
And
her
whitening my teeth.
and whitening her teeth, and now they look yellow.
Mm-hmm. My teeth are yellow.
No, they're not.
So it will be lighter sooner. So I just wanted to preface that because I'm well aware of what my hair looks like right now, guys.
Yes, well aware. So, talking about West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
our story is in West Virginia. I have no idea who we're doing. The only person that I know in West Virginia is Skylar, the teenage girl that was killed by her friends. That's the only fame. And that one happened in Morgantown, Star City, which is where she went to college. Are you being attacked by the dog?
Yes, I am.
So that's the only one that I know of that's so famous. And I'm positive there's other ones there. But when I think of West Virginia, I think of that one because it was so brutal that it was teenage girls that killed her.
Yeah, I have that one, and then like I'm always aware of the one at WVU that was the hazing accident because that's where I went.
Yeah.
And it affected my schooling. But wait, do you like my sweatshirt?
Very cute.
Spooky season.
Yes, it is. It's Halloween season.
Uh-huh. So, I'm taking you back to 1959.
Oh my God. We're going back ages and ages and ages.
Uh-huh. And so,
can you read that in the dark?
Yes,
We're in the dark.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So, this has to do with West Virginia's capital punishment.
Okay.
So, mind you, West Virginia did abolish their capital punishment. Okay. And then it was done nationwide in Furman v. Virginia.
Okay.
So I want to give a little background on their capital punishment.
Okay. Was this capital punishment? This was the death penalty?
Death penalty.
Okay.
So, yeah. Capital punishment is the death penalty in the United States. It was, every state kind of has their own thing, but it was, most states have abolished it because it has been found to violate the 8th Amendment, which is the cruel and unusual punishment.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's the 8th Amendment.
Yes.
So in Furman v. Virginia, that was done, wow. Yeah, Furman v. Virginia. Georgia. Oh my God. In Furman v. Georgia in 1972. It was a landmark criminal case in which the U.S. Supreme Court decided that arbitrary and inconsistent imposition of the death penalty violates the 8th and the 14th Amendment and constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. So
okay, so them killing somebody and then them going to death is cruel and inhuman
because it was inconsistent. It was racial bias. It was bias against it's racial bias. It was and the methods that were used. So in the United States, our death penalties ranged from hanging, the electric chair,
gas
chamber,
and firing
squad.
But didn't you
lethal injection?
Didn't they get to choose what they wanted?
They not always. Some states had specific versions that they held up. Like Oregon had the gas chamber.
So
which
did California. When I was
um
growing up, it was the gas
which
chamber.
there is a case in Oregon that actually deals with the gas chamber, and we're
Okay.
gonna do it. Um, Washington, ours was lethal injection, and
Firing squad? I don't know. Somebody chose the firing squad.
yeah, I think they could choose it. It's not a normal option, but
No.
it's there as long as it's not outlawed in that state. So they kind of said that you need to be more consistent in who gets the death penalty and the criteria, and you also had to find a more humane method.
Yes.
So a lot of states switched to lethal injection because it was found to be more inhumane, which actually turns out it's not.
Yeah.
So West Virginia abolished their capital punishment in 1965.
Okay.
So prior to the secession from the Confederacy and admission to the Union on June 20th, 1863, West Virginia was part of Virginia.
Okay.
Under Virginia's authority, 43 people were executed. Then there were 112 executions after West Virginia achieved statehood.
Okay.
So West Virginia actually hasn't had that many executions between
No, not unless
their
you live in Texas.
Texas, Alabama's up there, and then you have Indiana, but that houses the federal
Yeah. Terre
death
Haute.
Terre Haute. So first two people executed in the state of West Virginia were Daniel Gorgon and Thomas Boyce. I am so sorry. One of our dogs is psychotic right now.
Yeah.
But she's being very cute.
Yeah. It's a very cute.
So they were both convicted of murder and hanged. So
Okay.
West Virginia did hang. They were hanged in Wood County in 1866. So after West Virginia became a state, no women have ever been executed. So hanging was an official method until 1949.
I think in Florida they've executed women.
Yeah,
What's her name?
Florida, I know Texas has. I think Alabama.
Well, I know Florida has that. What's her name? The one who killed people.
Yeah. So in 1949, West Virginia became the last state to adopt the electric chair as its only means of execution.
Okay.
So the first two inmates electrocuted were 29-year-old Harry Burdett and 32-year-old Fred Painter on March 26, 1951. Then state delegate Robert Byrd was among the official witnesses during their executions. He recalled the event, stating, "It's not a beautiful thing."
No,
So,
I've heard it's awful.
so until 1959, 102 people were hanged, 9 electrocuted, and one hung in chains.
Hung in
Hung in
chains?
chains.
What did they do?
I know.
Strap them up?
I have no idea. So I am reading this off my phone because I did not write it down because it was kind of a last minute, like, oh, I probably should.
Yeah.
So the last person executed by West Virginia was Elmer Brunner on April 3rd, 1959.
So
And
since 1959, there's been nobody executed by West
uh
Virginia?
no.
And
So
do they have people there in death row?
uh-huh.
Okay.
So we'll get into that because I have some of that.
Okay.
So Elmer Brunner is who we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
He was the last man to be executed by West Virginia.
Okay.
So, no federal executions have ever taken place in West Virginia, but 2 were sentenced to death in 2007, George Letko and Valerie Friend, for the murder of an informant who was supplying federal law enforcement with information about the couple's cocaine drug ring. Those verdicts and sentences were overturned in 2009 due to juror misconduct, and retrials ended with life without parole and 35 years for Letko and Friend, respectively. So, along with Iowa, West Virginia became the final pre-Furman state to abolish capital punishment in 1965. However, in 2024, two bills were introduced back in the state legislature to reinstate the death penalty. One was for a tax on first responders, and one was for selling fentanyl. So, something to know about West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the worst places for it's the opioid crisis.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many documentaries on that, and that was a huge education in WVU was about the opioid epidemic because they were so worried about college students getting into that, and I know that was one of our concerns when I went to West Virginia. Promise, never did drugs. So in West Virginia, um, primary crime for the death penalty was imposed was murder, though it was also used for rape and kidnapping.
Yes.
So in 2025, another proposed legislation. So basically, you had 2024 was the attack on first responders, but that kind of was up in the air, and they're just like it's too broad.
Yes. Well,
So
if you kill a cop, you should be sentenced to death.
so they're saying that it was they want to reinstate the death penalty for the intentional killing of a police officer or other first responder in the line of duty.
Okay.
So basically, if a person went out
Gets pulled over and they open fire, that's intentional.
or the whole murder suicides, because we've seen some survive, like the murder by police, we've
Yeah.
seen some survivors of that. A murder was the most common offense leading to execution. Rape, particularly against black defenders and white victims, was another crime that carried the possibility of death sentence before the U.S. Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional for non-homicidal offenses. And then kidnapping was also a crime for which the death penalty was imposed. So West Virginia is also a very racially biased state. This is really bad to admit. When I was on campus, I saw maybe 4 black students, in the whole year and a half I was there.
Yeah.
It was not normal, and that's awful.
It is.
It is awful. But so I wasn't too surprised seeing that about West Virginia being so disproportionate on the offenses and against who they were against. So, like I said, we're gonna talk about Elmer Bruner. So he was born in Ohio, January 1918. On November 13th, 1956, less than a year prior to committing the murder that ended him on to his execution, he married a lady named Norma Gertrude Morris. The two were married until his death, so she stood by him.
Okay.
The couple lived in Huntington, a city located in Cabell County. So Brunner had an extensive criminal record, having been in and out of correctional institutions from the age of 10 onward.
10?
10.
What the?
You could say.
What the fuck?
We kind of agree that if swearing comes out naturally, that's going to happen.
Yes, but we're not going to intentionally swear.
No. So at the time of the murder, he worked as a handyman, taking on odd jobs. He was also out on parole.
When he did this crime?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So on May 27th, 1957, Ruby H. Miller, a 58-year-old wealthy church worker who sometimes accompanied her husband to his office to help him with his contracting work, returned to her Huntington home from the office in the late morning.
Okay, so this is a church-going woman.
God-fearing church-going woman who went to her husband's office to help out and basically do paperwork for him.
Okay.
She found Elmer burglarizing the house. And I want to just say, I think Ruby Miller is a badass because she immediately armed herself with a shotgun. Welcome to West Virginia. But Brunner disarmed her. So he quickly disarmed her. He then beat her to death.
With the shotgun?
No, he beat her to death with the claw end of a hammer.
So he came in with a hammer and she had a shotgun and...
He disarmed her and beat her to death with the hammer.
God.
He also made an attempt to strangle her with a silk stocking, which was still wrapped around her neck when her husband returned home later that same afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
So he found her body. Police were called, of course. And a pathologist that the police called to the home shortly after the body was discovered found the cause of death to be destruction of the brain caused by a very hard instrument.
Yeah, I would consider a
claw end of a hammer.
Yeah, consider that.
I want you to know, when I was reading this, I was like half asleep, so I could not for the life of me picture the claw end of a hammer.
Yeah.
I was like half asleep. The pathologist also found that Ruby Miller had been raped after she was murdered.
That is,
although
Okay.
Brunner
I,
was
I,
never charged with the rape.
that is so gross. I mean, and not that raping the woman before is any better, but come on.
Necrophilia. He was never charged for the rape. He was only charged for her murder. So Brunner was arrested for the murder approximately 1 hour after the body was discovered.
What, did he leave a trail or?
Um, no, I will get to that. It's kind
Okay.
of interesting because I was also like, that was quick.
Yeah, I mean, how did they find him?
So at the time of Brunner's arrest, so this is
Yeah,
the thing.
because they didn't have DNA, they didn't have fingerprints, they didn't have anything.
So what was interesting, he was not suspected in the murder because he was arrested for something else. So at the time of his arrest, police did not suspect him in the murder of Ruby Miller. He was arrested based on a telephone tip due to his involvement in a separate burglary of one of Miller's neighbors, which had occurred on May 22nd.
Okay.
The police who searched Brunner, so Brunner was also a suspect in a third burglary and an armed robbery. So he was already suspected. They just didn't connect him to the murder yet. So Brunner was also a suspect in the police who searched Brunner found a pair of keys on his person. The keys belonged to his car. It belonged to Miller's car.
Okay.
So he took her keys. He took her car keys.
Why?
I don't know. We don't know that part.
Did he take the car?
No, he had a car. Brunner told the police that he had part. Wow, I'm an idiot. Yes, he did take the car, apparently. I didn't think he did. So he apparently did, yes, actually take the car.
Okay.
Can you tell I'm tired?
Yes.
I don't sleep much. So Brunner told the police that he had parked the car in a certain parking lot in Huntington, and officers found the car in that lot. I'm sorry. Yes, you were right. He did take the car. Police found another pair of keys on Brunner that matched a locker at a Greyhound Lines bus station. When police searched the locker with Brunner's permission, albeit without an official search warrant, so he gave permission. I think he was like, "Oh well, I'm caught." So
yeah,
back then a lot of people didn't have Miranda rights because the Miranda rights didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
So they found suitcases containing jewelry that Brunner had stolen from the Miller household. Yeah, so he incriminated himself pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do this.
So
he was arrested for a burglary at her neighbor's house.
Yes, and then they
and then they
got him for an armed robbery.
And then he was a separate suspect in another burglary and armed robbery. And then they're just like, "Oh, you broke into the Millers, you stole her car, you stole her jewelry, you also murdered her."
Yeah, and all within an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the same day,
he either has the worst luck or he's really stupid.
So the same day of the murder, shortly before midnight, he made a confession after hours of questioning. Police were prepared a written statement which Brunner refused to sign until 4:30 p.m. the following day. So he confessed before midnight, and then he wouldn't sign it until late afternoon the next day.
Okay.
So in the statement, Brunner confessed to entering the Miller household through a bathroom window after cutting a screen. After ransacking the home, he was preparing to leave when Ruby Miller intercepted him in a bedroom, aiming a shotgun at him. Brunner confessed to grabbing the gun from her before she could fire it and hitting her with an unspecified object, later confirmed to have been the claw end of a hammer.
Okay.
When she started screaming until she fell over. He also claimed that he never intended to strangle her with the silk stocking and that his intention was to cover her eyes, which I don't believe at all.
No.
Brunner claimed that after parking Miller's car at a church in downtown, he parked it at a church in downtown Huntington, he walked home and had just recently arrived when the police went to his house to arrest him.
So when did he get to the Greyhound station to hide the loot?
Within that hour, apparently. I think what he did is that he took the car to the Greyhound station, hid it, and then went and parked the
thing and went home.
Because that's what makes the most sense in my head.
Yeah.
So shortly after Brunner was charged with first-degree murder, Cable County prosecutor Russell L. Daughtry announced that he would seek the death penalty against Brunner.
Yeah.
So,
58-year-old church-going woman. Yeah.
and he bludgeoned her.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do, and then he tried to strangle her.
Yeah.
There was a lot, and then he raped her, which, yeah, he never was on, but
Charged,
but that they did take that into consideration.
Yes, they did.
You can't tell me that they didn't. Thank you, Artie. So subsequently, Common Pleas Judge John W. Daniel granted Brunner's motion to have the court provide a mental examination to basically judge his competency to face the death penalty. It's not even trial, it's just to face the death penalty, which I think is commonplace in a lot of states.
They also take into account mitigating circumstances like your life and what happened to you.
Nowadays they do.
Now they do.
Nowadays they do. So on June 11th, 1957, Judge Daniel revealed that he had been receiving phone calls from an unknown male. According to Daniel, this man threatened to harm the judge if Brunner were to receive the death penalty. Although Judge Daniel informed the police of the phone calls, he told a United Press International reporter, "I look on it as a joke." On June 16th, the Beckley Post-Herald reported that prosecutor Russell L. Daughtry and his wife had both received similar threatening. Prosecutor and his wife were also receiving threatening phone calls from an unknown female who identified herself as Brunner's wife.
She told them who she was?
Stating that if her husband received the death penalty, then the prosecutor or his wife would be in danger. Reminds me of Ruth Coe.
Okay, so you're gonna call the prosecutor and his wife and tell them, if you give my husband the death penalty, it's gonna happen to you?
Yeah,
you're in danger?
You're in danger, and you identify yourself.
What a fucking moron.
Kind of reminds me of Ruth Coe.
Yes.
Ruth Coe was a interesting one. I loved her, though. You know what? At least she went to bat for her son.
Yeah,
which
she
also,
did.
Side note, we actually got a comment on that YouTube video. Someone actually clarified it for me, who I think lives in Spokane when this happened. But they clarified that Coe's sister actually stood by him during all of this. And I actually really do appreciate them specifying that, because no matter what articles I was looking at, no matter what I was finding, I could not find anything to do with his sister.
No. We also have another update, but we'll do it at the end.
Yeah, but that one, and then they actually brought up a really good point, was that if Coe goes to Spanaway, he won't be under lock and key like you are in prison. People would be able to visit him. He's essentially a free man. So what's stopping friends and his family from harassing the victims?
I know. That's kind of scary. But we're going to talk about the yogurt shop murders
at the end. Uh-huh. So Brunner's trial was scheduled to begin on June 22nd, 1957. And the days leading up to his trial, 2 of his potential court-appointed attorneys quit his case, declining to represent him.
Why? Because he's crazy.
One of them quit only 9 days before the trial's start date.
Oh, God.
Because of the threats to the prosecutor and the judge, there were over 20 police officers present in the courtroom every day during his trial, which that's a lot because Huntington back then was pretty small.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of police. So on June 29th, 1957, his trial concluded. So his trial began the 22nd and ended on the 29th. Only a week.
Yeah, that's 7 days. Mm-hmm. It's not even 7 days, it's 5 business days.
4 hours of deliberation.
And they found him guilty.
Of an all-male jury. It was an all-male jury. 4 hours of deliberation. They found him guilty of first-degree murder under West Virginia law at the time. And so because of that, at the time, first-degree murder verdicts come with automatic death sentences unless the jury recommends mercy.
And so, I'm assuming since that it wasn't recommended.
They did not recommend it.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really interesting one, because most of them with stuff like that, it's an automatic appeal.
Yeah. Did he not appeal it?
Well, no, he did, and we'll get into that. because he did it several times. He exhausted all of his appeals.
Yeah.
But in most states, life sentences, all that, are automatic appeals, and not an automatic death sentence.
Yeah.
So I found that very...
Yeah, most time the jury has to vote for a death sentence
unanimously, and
and
it's
that's
rare.
when they bring the mitigating circumstances
It's rare.
in. Yeah.
It's actually really hard to get a death sentence nowadays.
And then death sentence is appeal after appeal after
Unless you live in
appeal.
Texas.
Yeah.
I never committed a crime in Texas.
Yeah, don't commit it. Or Florida.
So, yeah, the jury did not recommend mercy, and he was sentenced to death.
Okay.
Death sentence was formally pronounced on August 2nd, 1957, with his first execution date being scheduled to take place on September 27th, 1957.
Oh my God.
However, his appeals delayed the execution for almost 2 years.
We've got people on death row that have been there 25 years.
So he appealed his case twice to the West Virginia Supreme Court and once to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
In one of Brunner's appeals to the Supreme Court of West Virginia, this was October 1958, he argued unsuccessfully that it was prejudicial to show the jury a gruesome photograph that a police officer had taken of Miller's dead body at the crime scene. Initially, the United States Supreme Court refused to review his case, after which the execution date was scheduled for December 12, 1958. However, Justice Earl Warren granted Brunner a stay of execution 2 days prior to allow time for further appeals and for Brunner's U.S. Supreme Court appeal to be heard.
Okay.
On January 12, 1959, his U.S. Supreme Court appeal was rejected. He had attempted to argue that his constitutional rights under the Fourth Amendment were violated prior to his trial due to police not having a warrant to search the locker containing the stolen valuables from the Miller's household, forgetting that he gave them permission. They don't need a warrant if you give them permission. Literally, if you're ever convicted, make them jump through those hoops. Make them.
Yeah.
Don't give it up. Even if, just don't give it up. Make them jump through hoops.
Yeah, I agree.
So Brunner's final last-ditch appeal was rejected by U.S. District Judge Harry F. Watkins in March 1959.
Okay.
Ultimately, Brunner's execution date was set for March 27, 1959, and since that day was Good Friday, Governor Cecil H. Underwood granted Brunner a week-long reprieve to basically reschedule the execution for April 3rd.
Okay.
So because it was Good Friday, he got an extra week of life. So after all of Brunner's appeals were rejected, Governor Underwood was the final person remaining who could basically save his life at this point. So one of Brunner's brothers made a direct appeal to the governor after talking to him for about 10 minutes a day prior to the execution. He tried.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, if my sibling was in that position, I would do everything I can.
Yes. Even though you knew they were guilty.
Oh, yeah. I would still defend them to my...
Yeah, your dying breath.
My dying breath, yeah.
I'd say keep him in jail forever. Don't kill him.
And a church group based out of Charleston, West Virginia, also advocated on his behalf that afternoon.
Yeah.
Because, most people who are Christians do believe in do not believe in an eye for an eye.
Yeah, they don't believe in the death penalty. I think everybody has their own views on the death penalty. I believe in it in certain circumstances.
Oh, I do too.
Death of a child, death of a I
also would take the victim's family's opinions into account.
Yeah, if the victim's family do not want the death penalty, then I think you should honor their wishes.
Well, it's kind of like recent with the Idaho murders, is that they were caught between a rock and a hard place because some of the families wanted that, but others of them did not.
Yeah,
so
it was settled.
That prosecutor was interesting because he did the same exact thing years ago.
Yeah.
But that's near here nor there. So ultimately, Underwood refused to intervene, stating that he would only take action if new evidence suggests his innocence.
Yeah, which it didn't.
Mm-hmm. So on April 3rd, 1959, Bruner was executed in the electric chair at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville.
Yeah.
His execution was witnessed by 18 prison officials, doctors, and newspaper reporters. After receiving 4 separate shocks, 2 prison physicians pronounced him dead at 9:10 p.m., 8 minutes after he received the first shock.
Okay.
So, although he was the final person executed in West Virginia, he was not the last person to receive a death sentence.
No.
At least one person was sentenced to death after Bruner. Erden Stevenson was sentenced to death in West Virginia in 1961, but he delayed his death sentence with appeals until they abolished the death penalty in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So in 1965, they abolished the death penalty officially, with making Bruner the last person to be executed in the state.
Is it been reinstated?
No. So again, like I said, they've tried to reintroduce several bills. And again, it was mostly just aiming at protecting first responders and people who are selling fentanyl.
Yeah.
Which I understand, but like you can't really commit someone to a death sentence for selling a drug, even though it's a fatal drug.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about it. If my kid died from fentanyl, I don't know if I would blame the guy who sold it to him. My kid knows what they're doing. It depends on if they're an addict or.
But it also looks at like the people who knowingly cut with fentanyl.
Yes.
So like there's a lot of circumstances into that.
Yes.
But that is Elmer Bruner.
Very interesting. Okay, let's talk about the yogurt.
So, for people who do not know, in Austin, Texas,
we did this. I thought it was a Cruces.
The Cruces was the bowling alley.
Oh, okay. So Austin, Texas.
This is Austin, Texas. HBO did a fantastic 4-part documentary on this, so like go check that out. It's in depth. It's intense. It's gruesome.
It is. It's very gruesome.
Essentially, these 4 teenagers and girls were executed. One of them or 2 of them were raped. One of them,
and she was the youngest at like 12 or 13. 13. And I can't believe it was only one guy.
They then set fire to the yogurt shop, trying to hide the evidence. 2 people were convicted of it and then were released, got life sentences, then were released. Well, 4 days ago, so like actually over the weekend, it was announced that they had retested the DNA, which I can't fathom why it took them so long to retest it unless they were waiting for the funding, which again I don't understand. They found out it belonged to a serial killer.
Yes. Somebody who had already been in prison, who already had his DNA in prison, who's already died in prison.
No, he did not die in prison.
He was let loose?
Yes, I will get it. Hold on.
Oh my God. Well, the bottom line is they had his DNA.
He was, so it was linked to a known serial killer rapist through DNA. Robert Eugene Brashers was was identified as a suspected killer in the 1991 Austin yogurt shop murders of 4 teenage girls. He was a known serial killer, and he was identified through advances in DNA testing and ballistics evidence that linked him to the scene and another unsolved murder. He died by suicide in 1999, but investigations are ongoing as authorities ask the public for any information about Brashers. So he died by suicide in 1999. It was 8 years after he killed these girls. He died. He killed himself. He had gotten out. Oh, okay. So Detective Jackson was reassigned to the case in 2022. And he actually has a collaboration with DNA and genealogy experts. So apparently in June 2025, he determined that a .380 cartridge found in a drain at the scene had not recently been submitted to the National Integrated Ballistics Information Network. In July, a hit was received linking to the cartridge to an unsolved 1998 murder in Kentucky. The similarities in the cases led to a collaborative investigation between Austin and Kentucky detectives. Further investigation revealed that Brasher's, the newly named suspect, committed suicide in 1999 using the same make and model, a .380 pistol, used to shoot the victim Amy Ayers, which was the 13-year-old.
Okay. The one he raped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even more compelling, Brasher's was stopped by Border Patrol on December 8th, 1991, less than 48 hours after the murders, at a checkpoint between El Paso, Texas, and Las Cruces, New Mexico. He was driving a stolen car and was in possession of a .380 pistol that has since been confirmed to be the same gun he used to commit suicide in 1999, as the serial numbers match. So 34 years later,
yeah,
they finally solved it.
Yes. But they had the gun, they had DNA because they were doing the testing. I mean, how long did it take for them to do the shell?
It's the fact that they did that one of them realized it had not been recently submitted.
Yes. Now they've not. Are they considering it solved?
They're looking for more information on Brasher's, but I think they are considering it to be solved, even though he committed suicide. So what happened was that he was hiding with his wife and his stepdaughters at a hotel. I think he had jumped parole or something like that.
Yeah.
And the police standoff with the police, he ended up shooting himself at the hotel, like outside the hotel in front of the police. But yeah, that has officially been solved.
Yes. So we just thought we'd bring you that update. That was our first or second show.
We actually never did the yogurt shops.
I thought we did the yogurt shops.
No, we discussed it. We ended up watching the documentary, but we never did it. But it's a lot of people aren't talking about it, even though it's a pretty big case now.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do the yogurt shops. But now we've just told you the bottom line. So
I don't know, and I think HBO does a really good job with that.
Yeah, HBO, if you want to watch it, HBO's got some great documentaries. So I think we're done for today. Okay, sweetheart, I'll see you next episode.
Yep.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Bye.